Welcome back, everybody, to Tokusatsu Girlfriend. I'm your host, Squall Charlson, and I'm here with the lovely...
Laur.
Yeah, that's you. Hi.
And hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Awesome. So we've gotten some really good reception from the first episode. You saw some of the comments you saw.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. I'm very, very happy.
So I feel like we should keep this going. We should keep this going fast and strong. And let's jump into it with the next 10 episodes, shall we?
I'm excited. I would love to.
So I would like you, starting each episode now, to give me and the future listeners basically like a recap of the previous episodes that led up to where we are now. Because we're at, what, episode 20 now? Like we just finished 20?
I guess. I don't know. I'm so bad at keeping up with the actual numbers.
It's hard. It's hard sometimes. So do you remember the first episode arc we watched?
We were Stinger, right?
Yeah.
Right? Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, with Stinger's true identity finally revealed.
Yeah, okay, yes. Then yes, I couldn't remember where we picked back up, but yes, now I do.
Do you remember all the other stuff kind of surrounding that episode?
Yes, I do. With oh my gosh, what was that guy's name that they like went back and rescued? It started with like an M, right? Am I thinking right? Or am I way off base?
Again, I don't know. I don't have the name written
What
down.
his
The
name,
one who looked like he was like masturbating in the first episode.
Yes, and then we found out that he wasn't later.
And he was like polishing a ball or something, which is the same thing.
Yeah. Ha.
So tell us about it.
Okay, so they went back for that guy because his girlfriend was super concerned and like, please help him. He's not the same. And they go and find him and he's like, I'm never coming back to school.
I'm helping my parents in their photography studio.
And I'm obviously very depressed. Yeah. Like, look at me. And then meanwhile, we found out the true identity of Scorpio, who was Miss Sonoda. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We found out that it was her, which was a real shock to me. I don't know why I never really considered that it could be her. I think I was starting to feel like it might be her. She just had that vibe coming from her. But I was still thrown off from when you heavily hinted that it was Mr. Yeah.
Because he's a Scorpio.
Yeah.
Obviously, it had to have been him.
But I was like, this guy is such a doofus. There's no way.
He's such a doofus. It would be weird for him to be Scorpion. But then also, like, Miss Sonoda is, like, also someone that you wouldn't really expect until like kind of recently, moving up to those episodes.
Right.
She gets a little more shifty.
She did. She definitely seemed a little bit more on the crazy side of things the more we got to see her and the more it led up to that episode. So I was kind of surprised. But overall, I guess when the big reveal happened, I was like, okay, that does make a lot of sense. I can see that.
So what happened after that? It was the Christmas episode, right?
Oh yeah. Where Yuki gets enlisted in the choir. Yeah, yes. Drafted. They were like, look at how she performs without fear. And I was just like, oh, she is best girl. She is so cute. I love that episode a lot. It was so funny. And that's the one where the guy was the artist and she's down there like
Bob Ross.
Right? She's down there singing her heart out. And he's like, I can't concentrate with this noise. But honestly, she wasn't a bad singer. She was so cute. I loved it. But he was obviously a hater.
We know a few things about those.
Yeah, just a little. Just a little. High school haters.
High school kids, I swear.
Right.
That was also kind of the introduction more on, what was it? It was the principal's... he's not Virgo, he is Libra. Yes, that's right.
Libra.
I said Pisces, that's not right.
No.
Yeah, you're waiting for Pisces
alone.
You're a Pisces.
I am a Pisces. I'm a very proud Pisces.
So we kind of got to see his power sort of manifest a little bit more. We got a little bit more insight in what they're trying to do with taking these kids and elevating them up, because that's kind of what happened with Miss Sonoda.
Right.
She was a student.
Climbed the levels to become Scorpio.
Yes. And she manifested that energy to become one of the 12 apostles, horoscope, whatever they call them.
And you found out that you can go past when they always are like last one with their switch. And then you found out that you can actually go beyond that if you're like worthy, for lack of a better word.
Right.
If you've got it in you, and that's how you become one of the zodiacs, right?
There's no clear like rules about it. It's just kind of like, you get it. Okay, we're getting closer to the end of the series. Now I guess this guy gets it. Cool.
Right.
So what happened after that? They in the Christmas episode we had a special introduction from
Meteor, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to lead you on. I'm trying to like.
Oh, I hope you're not. Yeah, we got our intro to Meteor, who I am down for his aesthetic. Like, I am here for it.
That
1,000-fold. It is. I love his little disco belt. Like, I love
little Bruce Lee moves.
Yeah, just everything about him. His personality, I like it, but it leaves a little something to be desired. He's not my friendly little space boy.
He's like Kango 2.0.
I guess we should probably wait.
Yeah, we'll talk about
him because I have thoughts and opinions. But yeah, we were introduced to Meteor.
Yes, and then the next 2 episodes were basically Ryusei's introduction. Take it away.
Right.
What happened to those?
Well, like you said, we were introduced to him and his little game he's playing to try and find Aries, because Aries is someone, like, how in depth should I go with this? He's trying to find Aries because of his backstory that we're kind of introduced to in little clips that you have to kind of piece together on your own.
Yeah, something bad happened at his school with a friend with a switch that somehow migrated there.
Yeah,
and
which raises a whole new set of questions, because it kind of seems that previously it was just the switches were centralized at their high school.
Yes.
You didn't, well, at least I didn't really consider the possibility that there are switches, questionably everywhere.
Right.
Potentially.
But that's kind of what brings him to the school as a exchange student. Sort of like Gen.
Right.
Which is kind of fun to see, like the polar opposite of the two.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And so he's kind of like an anti-hero almost.
He is, very much so.
Very much does his own thing. And then finally the last 2 episodes we watched to round it off to 21, I think, is what we are going to watch next. Were the Magnet episodes.
Yeah. And in those, that's the one where Gintaro's like, hey, maybe we should have Ryusei, is that how you say his name?
Ryusei.
Okay, Ryusei, work on some switches, because it seems like that would be something he's good at. And then Kingo? Okay. He obviously got pissed off about that.
Decided to go join the track team for whatever reason.
Because he's always talking about his passion towards running,
Yeah.
With his brain condition.
Perfect candidate.
Right? And then for some reason he has a girlfriend that they've never talked about before.
And never talk about after.
No, because she gives him that trophy. Although maybe that's it. Because obviously that was where we stopped at. So I don't know. Maybe that is. We never hear from her again.
No, we never hear from her again.
Okay. I don't know. I guess I'll save that for character dissections. But I'm not here for it. I'm not.
But it eventually led up to sort of Kengo and Gen falling out, because he felt that Gen was trying to push him out of his own thing. But really Gen was trying to help him own his more thing by having other people help out more, because Ryusei would be good to help out, and that he is qualified and skilled at this. And that kind of led to their falling out, which they eventually kind of come back when they find the N and S magnet phone.
Right. And then they kind of got back together, which I was like, that is so Gintaro, that like he wanted to give Ryusei, something to do to like, wasn't it to like give Kingo a break or something like that? That's such a Gin thing to do. That's so sweet. And you're like, of course that's why you did this, because he's not an asshole. At the end of the day, he's just a very good, loving friend. And I don't know if this is the proper place to get into this about, but I guess I'm going to do it anyway.
Hit us.
Kingo, especially in these 2 episodes, really reminded me of that person that everyone has had in their life. The friend that like is like, I'm your best friend. And then another person comes along that you become friends with. And you're like, hey, this is another friend, because you can have multiple close friends.
What?
That's the thing. I know.
Nope, never heard of that.
I know, right? Well, neither has Kingo, because then he gets pissed off, and it was very like, well, if you're not going to listen to me, if that's your new best friend, then I'm out of here. I quit the club. You know, it's very elementary school. And he's like, well, if you can't be my best friend, then I'm out of here. I'm going to go join this club, and I won't be your friend anymore. And
that'll show him.
Right. Everyone has had that experience. Usually it's in, like first grade and not high school. But Kingo is very immature, in my opinion. To
be fair, the high schoolers and first graders do share a lot of similar qualities. I've come to find out recently.
Well, yeah, I guess that's very true.
We could sip some of that tea later if you want for Patreon.
I would be down.
Yeah,
let's
do that.
Do it.
Okay,
let's
cool.
do it. But, I just feel like that's very reminiscent of something that everyone has experienced. Mm-hmm. The friend who gets super jealous when someone else comes into your life and you're like, hey, we can all be friends. There's no rule that says we can't. And then that other person is just so jealous and just so like, no, either we're best friends or I'm going to go off and do my own thing and just really be a brat. And I feel like that's what Kingo was doing. And I don't know. I just feel like Gin is just such a sweetheart. And he was the one that put his differences aside. Honestly, I think Gin was in the right the whole time. And he would have been fine being like, you know what? Fine. If that's how you're going to act, then we don't need you.
But that also goes against his character, too.
It does. No, that was going to be my follow-up.
He's going to do anything to make sure that everyone else is.
Right. The whole theme of the show is obviously friendship, and that doesn't go with the whole theme. This is not Laur's Kamen Rider Club.
Oh, I would love to see that show, though.
Okay, maybe I'll work on it.
It's already growing IRL.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Laura's fan club.
Oh, please. All I'm saying is that, I don't know, I think Kingo acted like a real brat those 2 episodes, and even though Ryusei is supposed to be playing this whole part of like, I don't know, he's playing a part of like, I'm your friend, but secretly he's just like, no, I'm not. I'm trying to forward my own agenda. But he could even put that aside for a second to like level with Kingo and be like, dude, this is why I was working on switches. This is why this is happening. Mm-hmm. And Gin's a really good friend. And that really that won some brownie points for me as far as Ryusei is concerned. And I really like him a lot more than I like Kingo.
We even went back and kind of looked at the first episode again because you somehow didn't remember a lot of it, which is okay. You know, like when you watch these shows, a lot of times some episodes will kind of just pass you by, and it's not until like a second or third viewing that you're like, oh wow, like I completely forgot this episode.
Right.
But I pulled up that very first scene with Kengo where this girl comes up and like gives him a love letter, like.
Which he did not deserve.
Yeah, but he's got like ladies. Like he's got like 3 so far that are like, Kengo with the little brain tumor.
He threw her letter in the water.
Yeah.
Who does that? What kind of an asshole does that?
Fucking vaults over the edge of it and jumps down into the river to grab it.
He is such a pure-hearted, wholesome good boy. Like, he is so worthy of affection and love and praise and all the good things. Gin deserves it all. Kingo does not deserve that love letter, especially if he's going to throw it in a body of water. Like, what an asshole move. What a dick move. I can't get over that, and I have forgotten about that. So any good thing I said about Kingo ever, I take it back. I do not like him at all.
I doth not purchase it.
I'm not buying it. I don't like him.
I would like our viewers to chime in to let us know if we should do the next podcast after finishing episode 30 or maybe a couple episodes past that, just so that everything that Laura will have to say is fresh.
Oh, no.
Let us know. All right, so we went over a couple of the episodes that we went over. Now we're up to 20 watched so far. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about some of the characters again. I know we kind of covered Kengo, but with Sonoda's sort of backstory kind of coming to light and then her being basically teleported off to the Dark Nebula or whatever. What does that
mean?
She's just gone for now. You know, Osugi's got to cover the class.
Poor guy.
But what are your thoughts on Sonoda?
Well, at first I thought that she was like, oh, she's so sweet. She's such a sweet teacher. And she's going to be like the level-headed, balanced, sweetheart mentor that they can go to because Mr. Osugi is obviously a buffoon, the tomfoolery, the level of unprofessionalism coming out of this man. I'm like, who hired you? What was his interview process like? So I really thought that Miss Sonoda was going to be the more balanced, knowledgeable, like actual teacher mentor that they could all look up to and go to for help. But clearly I was wrong about that.
Yep.
I really was not. That, for the most part, came out of left field. Like I said, I started to see in those episodes leading up to it, I'm like, maybe there's a dark side to her. Like I'm starting to see kind of like, I'm getting those vibes. Like I'm an excellent vibe reader. And that sounded bad. Vibe reader.
That sounds like something you would buy at like a shady shop in an alley.
I know. And she just, I don't know, leading up to it, I was like, there's something else going on with her. She is not the sweetheart that I thought that she was. And then clearly that ended up being right. So I was very surprised when it ended up not being Osugi, because you led me astray.
Also very like manly too. Like you kind of mentioned that a couple times. Like you were like, I would hate to be one of these monsters or switch into something that's so manly. Like it's just like kind of unbefitting almost. You know what I mean? Like obviously Libra is shown. We don't know who the identity of Libra is yet.
And I have issues with that too. Not the fact that I don't know who Libra is, but as an astrology nerd, I'm going to let that freak flag fly for just a second. I really think that...
I meant Virgo before, sorry.
Oh, Virgo.
Because we don't know Virgo's identity. No. Libra's is the principal.
Yeah, because I was like, wait, maybe I'm confused.
I get all this so fucked up, I'm sorry.
No, wait, don't know who Virgo is, which I like Virgo's design. I think Virgo is very pretty. A very pretty monster. But
I like what's the other one we were talking about? Shit, I'm really bad with
there's
this.
Scorpio...
No.
Libra.
Yeah, I like Libra's design with the little toing.
Well, yeah. I just feel, again, like I said, I'm going to let my astrology nerd freak flag fly for a second. But I really think that Libra should have been Gemini, since Gemini, they're supposed to be the twins, mirror image.
Oh, yeah, because he constantly changes
that's just like
into
powers
other people.
that he, like, I guess, shapeshifts, for lack of a better word. He, like, takes on their appearance and, like, stuff like that. So to me, someone who is very into astrology, I think that it would have been more befitting to be Gemini for that one, since Gemini are the twins. They're known for being two-faced and double-sided. But I guess Libra being the scales and the balance, that, okay.
Kind of like the judge.
I'll let you have that one, because it's not too far of a stretch, but it should have been Gemini. But that's just my little astrology tangent.
One of the things I love about Fourze isn't just kind of the high school setting, but it's very political in the sense that a lot of the adults you can't trust. A lot of the people that are outside of your generational gap are enemies.
I like that. I like that. And I like that point that you made, that you brought that up.
Yeah. And it's very much like even someone that you could trust, that you could turn to, like with Miss Sonoda, ends up being the one that's basically been trying to kill you for the last, like 10 weeks now. And your principal is the one that's basically tasked with handing out these dangerous switches to kids. And the only person that you can trust is a fucking idiot that we know of so far, like snapping himself constantly, running around like a madman. But like, that's so true. Like, there's so many people out there that above you look down on you and use you kind of as a pawn. Right. And that's very much what at the core the monsters and the villains of this portray. Because in a lot of other seasons, you have like sort of like a rich family who's perpetrating all this, like they're kind of like drug salesmen in a sense. You have like this organization who's going against this ancient enemy who's trying to like eradicate humankind, like there's all these very crazy ones. And this one is so basic and it's so just normalized. It's weird. Right. It's almost scarier too, that like this can happen to anybody. And of course, like in that first episode, when we go back and we see that kid and like the, just like the nature that he has taken on because of the switch and because of what it did to him, and how they don't care and they want him just to kind of do it again, Right. Well, keep going. Even if it kills you, just go. Just do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're evil. They don't care about those sort of things. It's just the end goal.
True. So speaking of some of these adult characters that we shouldn't trust, what do you think of the principal, Kohei? Or Hayumi?
He's like the guy that showed up and all the women were like, oh my God. and freaking out about
like
him.
the red Corvette or something. Or
more like a celebrity than a principal.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not very up on like school culture in Japan, so I don't know if it's normal for the principal to seem more like a celebrity that you don't see very often.
I think it's more because he's like handsome and young and attractive that everybody kind of fawns over him a little bit more.
Yeah, but it's just almost, I don't know.
It's weird.
Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it seemed like he was making a special visit to the school, and at least like here in America.
All the time.
Well, I mean, it's like here in America, the principal is there every single day. You know, they're just like any other teacher. They're a figure that you see every day at school. But to me, that read more as like almost like a superintendent, which I know he's not.
Mm-hmm.
But it just seems like he's like, I'm visiting one of my schools for the day. I don't know. It was just kind of like weird to me that the principal, it seemed like we'd never seen him before. It seemed like he was just arriving to visit the school as opposed to someone who's there every day. Like, you know, the principals here in America are. He just seems more like a figurehead, a celebrity of the school. Obviously, he's a bad guy.
Yeah. What gave that away?
No, I don't know. I don't really have too many thoughts or opinions on him. Besides, he's your typical bad guy. I don't know.
Well, watching this, because I haven't only seen Fourze once, and that was the very first time when it was airing. I watched it week after week. And I kind of noticed, too, like, when it comes to, like, him and Sonada gets sent off to the Dark Nebula. Like, she fucks up too many times and whoosh, she's gone. And he kind of has this devil-may-care attitude, too, that I didn't really notice. But, like, he's, like, in the same shit creek boat as her. But because he's like the principal, and I think also because he's a male, that he kind of gets away with a little bit more. And I kind of noticed that, and I was like, I don't like this.
Right.
It kind of rubbed me the wrong way when I first saw it. I was like,
I completely agree.
I don't like that at all.
Well, yeah, it's, you know, down with the patriarchy.
Yeah. What do you think of Virgo? I know you say you like her design. You like everything about her. Who do you?
I do.
Since we don't know the identity, do you have any guess of who you think it might be?
Well, I definitely think that if things are going the same way, that it's an adult. So I don't know. One of the adults that maybe I haven't met yet. I'm not sure that I've met who they are in real life just yet. I'm not sure.
Right, like they haven't introduced them yet. Okay,
the adult just
gotcha.
yet.
Well, since we talked about kind of the villains, we got a new hero, kind of, with Fourze, Meteor. So what do you think of Meteor?
I like Meteor. I think that, kind of going back to what I said with Kingo, how I think that he is like the obvious tsundere and like he's supposed to be kind of like the hothead or whatever. I think that they took a different and better angle on the tsundere kind of trope with Fourze. Obviously, he's trying to pull a whole like switcheroo on them, like pretending to be their friend and infiltrate them to forward his own agenda. And then he's got those like, you know, to their faces, he's just like, yay, I'm so happy. I'm glad we're friends. And then it'll show as a side, like his inner monologue. And he's like, oh my God, these people are so stupid. I hate them. It's kind of funny.
But okay, let's move on. Let's talk about, because Meteor, he kind of comes in, he's this little, you don't really know much about him. And that's fine. We can kind of touch base on him as we progress because we don't really know a lot about him. What do you think about Tachibana?
That's the guy who doesn't seem to have any of his bearings in space, right? Like every time they cut back to him, tumbling. He's always just like, it's not even just like, there's no gravity here. I'm just, he's always like just like,
20 flips.
Oh my God. Yeah. He's just like, he can't get his bearings. He's like trying to act normal. Like, yeah, things are great up here, Meteor. How are things down there? But he's like, we can see him and he's like desperately like trying to grab onto things. Yeah. It looks like he is like a cat with mittens on, you know how they walk around with like their legs, like lifting those up. They just don't know what they're doing. He just, you know, I don't know. He makes me laugh. There's got to be more to him. I want to know what his story is.
What do you like? What do you think it is? Like, because obviously Meteor sort of gets a signal sent down
that's like
from
his
his satellite, his boss. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
his sponsor.
Yeah. Right.
His Kamen Rider sponsor.
Right. That's like his boss, his principal or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's got to be some sort of end game because he is like telling Meteor what to do. It seems like, you know, He's his sensei.
Didn't he also tell him that he has to keep Meteor's identity secret?
Yes, he did. He's the one behind this whole thing.
There's a lot going on here, a lot of layers.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what the end game is with that guy. I would like to know. And I'm sure that'll be revealed. I'm sure there's more to that. But for now, I don't really know. I just know him as the guy who has been in space for a questionable amount of time and still can't get the hang of it.
He's fucking dumb. Like, I get that they want to like show off the sense of like, oh, he's got 0G, but it's like literally every time they cut back to him, he's just like, shit, slowly every time.
Right.
So yeah, I love Tachibana though.
Yeah. He's goofy. I don't think he's supposed to be goofy, but he's goofy.
He's definitely not supposed to be goofy. It's just kind of like our interpretation of it.
Okay.
Obviously,
Our
as an adult.
headcanon.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he does have a very good story that kind of comes into play a little bit later. So you'll see that.
Okay.
But we talked about Osagi. I think the one thing that we really didn't touch on a lot last episode, just because we had a lot to talk about with everything, was Fourze's like switches and his forms.
Right.
So if you want, we should talk about like the Eric form.
Yeah.
The electric or Eric, as I call it.
That's all I know it as.
The fire form. And then, of course, we just got the 30th and 31st switch, which is magnet state. So what are your thoughts on those? What do you think of those? Because getting form changes is very common with Kamen Rider, whereas in like Sentai, they get like, you know, like the one power up. Like in Shikancher, they share the power up. And some Sentai, only Red gets the power up. And some of them, they all get a power up. But like Kamen Rider has power ups that they kind of go through because they only have one character usually.
Right. Well, I don't know. I don't like change. I'm set in my ways. So honestly, I still like the first form the best. Like that will always be my favorite
form.
Yeah, that's always my favorite Fourze form. It's a lot of F's. But the electric or Eric switch, as I now know it because of you.
That's what it sounds like. He turns it on and he goes, Eric.
Yeah. No, I agree. It does sound like that. I like it. I like the gold. I like how it gives off that, like, just looking at it, you know, like, okay, this has got to be like electricity or something like that. I think out of his special forms, that one is probably my favorite. Just because I haven't seen the magnet one too much yet. It's only appeared in that one episode so far.
I love how they he uses them as like joysticks.
Joy-Cons, yeah.
Joy-Cons, yeah.
Is that what they're called?
It's like a joystick is like on a controller. Joy-Cons are like for the Switch. It's like, kind of like an arcade, like.
Right, gamer girl.
You've been outed.
Okay, yeah. Well, the fire one is cool. He looks adorable, kind of. Like, I like his helmet. He looks like a little, I can't put my finger on it. I can't remember what it's called, but there's like this little cartoon flame. And that's what he looks like to me. And I wish I could remember that. Like, it's a specific little flame cartoon. If anyone out there knows what I'm talking about, please let me know. So it's cute, but it's not my favorite. I don't know. I'm not sold on the red color.
Yeah, I don't like
he kind
the fire
of
very
looks
much.
like, kind of looks like a fire hydrant to me. I don't know. I'm not totally into it. But it's not bad. It's good for distance fighting, ranged fighting. So that's good because that's, you're going to need that sometime. So I would give it probably a 7 out of 10.
You're giving it rankings. No, we're not doing that.
Okay, my bad.
Did you notice with Magnet that like his helmet is different?
Yeah, it is. I did notice that. Yes,
like, it's like a bigger like. It's like his helmet is inside a helmet now. I fucking love it.
Yeah, I do like that. Again, I've only seen it in that one episode, and it was very briefly. We only got to see him use it like as almost like a finisher move,
right,
for that battle. But it worked. It did the job. And it seems like it's so far the most powerful, obviously, because it's his most recent power up.
Yes.
So I like it. I'm sure we'll see more of it, and I'll get a better feel for it. And who knows? I might even like it more than the electric form. I'm sure I will.
I love Magnet State.
I know that's your favorite.
Yeah, of like his main ones, I do love his final form, which is great. I love Meteor's forms and everything that he goes through.
Well, I haven't seen any of them, so I just want to go and touch back again just to make it clear. I love his outfit.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. It's so cool. I love everything about it. I love the little disco belt. I love just the aesthetic. I love it. I'm here for it.
The translucent blue on his helmet is something that they use in Build, actually. So,
I've noticed that.
Crossy Jellyform has that. And then obviously Grease has the translucent wrap around his like mummified head. What about some of the switches? I know, like, we talked about this not in the podcast, kind of outside of the podcast, that a lot of the switches in the show are kind of stupid because they only literally serve one purpose.
To, like, bail him out.
They
like,
never
when he
use
needs
them
it.
again. Yeah.
And how convenient.
Magic hand, boombox.
To grab Miyu and stuff, yeah.
And that's the one time, like, that they use it, that it's actually useful.
Yeah.
We'll actually answer. We have a question coming up for our after show. So if you guys don't know, we're actually going to be doing after shows for these episodes. So after we finish recording the main episode that you guys are hearing right now, whether you're Patreon, whether you're not, we're going to be doing after shows that are going to be only for Patreon, where we're going to be doing questions, we're going to be doing games, and maybe even giveaways. So stay tuned if you guys want to be a part of that. Definitely hook up on Patreon. Super easy. It's only $1 a month. But enough of advertising, self-promo here. So now that we're 20 episodes done,
yes,
what are your thoughts still so far overall? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm still really loving it. It's so hard to be like, okay, that was it. We watched 10 episodes. Now we're coming to a stop until... I have to
wait another week.
Yeah. It's like, okay, well, now we've got to film a podcast, or record a podcast.
Same thing.
Okay, well...
Don't worry.
Sorry, I didn't go to film school.
No. Ouch.
So it's hard because it's like we could keep going, but then I would accidentally start talking about stuff that, because we are shooting for the 10 episodes. So
we want to pocket your experience.
Right.
So that if you're watching along with us, or if you can remember or like Wikipedia it, you can really kind of sense where she is with the show. Because if she watched the whole thing and she's just like, oh, I really liked this character, I didn't see that they were going to do this. And you're just like, well, how would you know about that if you don't know?
Right.
If you've watched episode 43, that's where they spoil everything. What are you doing? You know what I mean?
So that it's hard because like this is a show that I definitely want to binge watch.
I know.
I love it. I love it so much. Kind of like I said in the last podcast, like with Shinkenger, I loved it. Overall, I really, really loved it. It was a very strong series, but there were some filler episodes and things where like I kind of zoned out. I wasn't really paying attention. They just didn't really do it for me. And so far, there hasn't really been a Fourze episode.
I feel like the next two are very forgettable.
Oh, okay.
It's with their new teacher for their homeroom.
Oh, okay.
She is a past Toku alum. She was Hurricaneger Blue for
cool.
Nimpu Sentai Hurricaneger in 2004 or 5 or some shit.
Neato. That means nothing to me. I know. I'm sure it means everything to the people who are listening. So I'm glad you guys are all in on something that I'm not.
Yeah, it's fun.
But yeah, it's definitely a show that I'd really like to binge. So it is very hard. The episodes go by so quickly too. Like,
yeah.
I remember one point, I was like, so we're on episode like what, 16? And you're like, no, we're like 19. On episode 19, about to be 20. And then I'm like, what? How did that happen? How did I lose count? It's very easy to do because I just want to like, sometimes we do watch these episodes like back to back to back to back. And it all runs into one episode for me, which
I'm trying to space it out a little bit so that you can remember it. And it kind of gets hard because I also want to watch them all back to back. And
that sounds bad. I'm like, it all runs into one episode, but I mean that in a good way. It's very, very good. I'm very into all of it. I'm very interested in seeing more of Meteor.
Yes.
He's a very intriguing character. Like I said, I don't typically go for like that tsundere type where they're,
You don't like the internet edgelord?
No, oddly enough, I
funny
don't.
racist memes?
No, I can't say that I do. That's not to say that Ryusei is doing that.
I'm just saying, like, he is very IRL edgelord.
Right. And I typically don't go for that type of character, but I feel like the way that they're working him is not annoying. It doesn't rub me the wrong way. I like it.
It's because they kind of show you both sides. Like, they show you his falsehood that he's putting on the front for everybody, but then he's also just like, I fucking hate everybody here.
Well, I know I mentioned this to you after we watched the episode where, like, Genta does something, or Gentaro. I call him Genta. I call him Genta, guys. I'm really sorry. I know that's not his name, but that's what I call him. I know. Excuse me, Gen. My bad. Apologies. He does call both something. Of them well, okay.
Sorry.
He does something in like a battle. I can't remember what. And I just remember that it pisses off Ryusei, who's not transformed. He is not as Meteor. He's like watching off to the side. Like, I think he's like hiding in the bushes.
Oh, is this where he comes up and punches him?
Yeah, he comes up and he just punches him. Like, and prior to this, all the Kamen Rider Club has ever seen of Ryusei is this very like
meek and shy,
mild-mannered, polite, just like, oh, I'm so happy we're friends. This is great. Can I join Kamen Rider Club? Smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. And you know, then he gets so pissed off at something Gentaro does, and he just runs up to him and he punches him, and he's like, "You're such a fucking idiot! Wow, why would you do that?" And then immediately is like, I'm so sorry. Oh my God. I don't know what came over me. Oh my God, what happened? And I was
Are you okay?
Yeah, and I'm just like, wow, you really played that one off, dude. But he did, because Gin was just like...
Gen's a fucking idiot, too.
I know. Like I said, I know I always kind of relate Sailor Moon back to things, and I'm sorry. I know that's probably super annoying. But he reminds me so much of Usagi, who is Sailor Moon, if you're not familiar with those characters. Just so trusting and friendly and loving, and to be honest, kind of dumb, kind of ditzy. And so I thought for sure that was going to like set off some alarm bells. He might not make that instant connection. Like, wait a minute, how come I never see Ryusei and Meteor in the same place at the same time?
Well, he even says like, you punch just like Meteor.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you punch just like Meteor, so I like you. And I was like, oh, is that him like low key being like, I know who you are? And I kept waiting for that. I kept waiting for him to like, wink or be like, He
could be punched He could be punched by Meteor to like the day he dies, and he'll never fucking put the two and two together.
I was just waiting for him. I'm like, come on, Gin, you're throwing shade, right? Like, you're like kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You punch like Meteor. But he wasn't. He was just like, you punch like Meteor, smiley face.
Cool.
I'm just like, he really doesn't get it. This poor baby. He doesn't get it.
I feel like if Meteor was like punching Kengo or something, and then like Ryusei was punching Kengo, he'd be like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you had asked me.
He would also probably put him in the hospital, just like his other friend.
Oh, God. That's dark, but true.
If he punches him in the lobe side, yeah, probably.
Well, yeah, I guess if you want to get into that. No, you had asked me, do I think, or no, you had said, who out of Kamen Rider Club do you think will figure out first, if any of them figure out that Meteor is Ryusei?
Yeah.
Who, if any of them, would figure that out first?
Who do you think would figure that out first?
I personally think that it would either be Kengo or Tomoko, because I think that both of them are, well, especially Tomo is more astute than she lets on. Like, I think that she's kind of written off just a little bit because she's such like a silly like goth character, and she is there for a lot of comedic value. But like we said in the last one also,
she solved the issue.
She solves issues regularly. She's on top of it regularly.
She was the first one that knew that Gentaro was the Kamen Rider without him transforming in front of her.
Right. No, she is definitely very astute. She gets things. And I think that people tend to forget that because her character is so over the top. And you typically don't see that out of such like a, I don't know, kind of like cheesy, hokey, like caricature almost of a character. Character. Because she's like just this weirdo goth chick, but she gets it. She is so smart and she is so with it. And so Kengo obviously is a smart guy. He's, very intelligent.
So smart, his brain's trying to kill him.
Right. Figure that one out, Kingo.
Yeah.
So obviously I think Kingo, because I think that he might have some suspicions already about that. Like, he's like, how do you know so much about switches? You know, like side-eyeing him.
Do you read my blog? No one reads my blog about switches.
So I definitely think Kingo is already kind of suspecting it. I think some of the members of the club are slowly, because I think they even said one of the last times, like, wait a minute. Where's Ryusei?
Oh, he ran off, you know?
Yeah. So I think that they're maybe kind of getting it.
Do you remember the first time, like, a monster attacked Gen and he's just like, get out of here? And Ryusei was like, blank face for a second. And he goes,
and then runs off. Yeah.
Like, he played it off really well. Yeah. And I think, like, they will always remember that for a while, you know?
Yeah. So So to kind of backtrack, I think it'll be Kingo or Tomo if any of them figure it out, which I think they will eventually.
The last thing that I want to mention, just to kind of, round out the episode, is just what do you hope will develop? Like, where do you think that this can go now after seeing what I want to say is like a little over the first half, or like the first third,
right? Almost
half of the show.
Well, we kind of talked about this today, so I'm going to touch back on that. My hope is that we will see, oh my God, I keep wanting to call him Kingo. That is not right at all. Meteor. Sorry. I really hope that we'll see Meteor and Fourze working together more. I know since he's been introduced, he's been very kind of like a lone wolf, I'll work with Fourze as long as it helps my end goal.
Yeah.
Which is to say, not very often. And there's even that one episode where he's like, we're enemies. We are not, just because we're Kamen Riders doesn't mean we're on the same side. But I think that we also saw at the end of that last episode that he is willing to kind of cast aside his own mission to work with Fourze. So I'm hoping that that shows that he does have the capability to eventually work together, because I think as a team, they work really well together. We saw that in the last episode, how well they work together.
I mean, we see it in the intro too, when they do like that awesome jump off that ramp with the explosion.
Which is super cool.
It's like, okay, they have to work together.
They have to. I understand that it's probably not going to be like next episode or anything that, okay, now we're friends. I think that we're going to go through a whole story arc, where they're fighting and he's like, don't forget, we're enemies still, just because I helped you that once. Like, I'm sure we're going to see some of that side. But I would hope that by the end of the series, we're seeing them work together, because they are a wonderful, wonderful team. I think. That's my hope.
I do too.
I really like Meteor a lot.
I love Meteor. I want to say he's my secondary favorite rider. Like, I really liked Build. I really liked what they did with Crossy and everything. But Zero Nose still just holds a place. That's Denos. But Meteor's so good. I forgot until we started watching. I was like, oh my God, I love this guy.
Kind of touching back to the magnet thing, they are polar opposites.
Yeah.
Like, you've got Gin, who's this happy-go-lucky friend to all, almost to the point of it, like...
so transparent that you can see right through him, and literally everybody does.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's not a fault.
Yeah.
That's just who I am. And then Ryusei, who is very putting up a front, putting up this fake exterior to hide his motives and hide his real self.
He's very kind of cold.
Because, remember, again, didn't want him to come into the club because he's just like, I've never once seen you really smile.
Yeah.
And he's just like, this
is me smiling. And he's like, no, that's not true. That's not real.
Nah, bro. Yeah. And then he punches him and he's just like, yeah, okay, I love this guy.
Yeah, because he showed him his real side.
Yes.
I think that Gen is also a great vibe reader. Yeah, so I think that...
You're really excited and happy about that callback.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I think that Gen can also pick up on vibes. I think that he is very good at being able to see through people, whether or not he lets on to that. I think that he can see people's true selves, even though he can't see that that's Meteor. Obviously, that's Meteor.
Yeah.
But again, I think going back to the whole magnet thing, and I'm hoping that's kind of like symbolism to how they're going to work together, because they're opposites. So those opposites kind of complete each other. So yeah, again, I really hope that they team up by the end.
I know everybody who has seen the show know that she may or may not be right here. And that is a very astute observation. But like you said, they will have to go through something, I think, to make that work because it's so distant at this point. And they're so against it. Even Ryusei, who's kind of breaking down these walls, is still kind of like, Nani the fuck.
Right. He's still, I think there's still a long way to go. I don't by any means expect it to be like next episode. Okay, we're friends now. We're fighting together. I still think that there's going to be like a whole story arc that we're going to have to get through.
Yes.
But I do hope that by the end of it, they are fighting together as a wonderful team and best friends, because that's the whole theme of the show is friendship.
It's Gen and Ryusei and Shun and the Bumblebee thing.
God, I hate him so much.
Do you have anything else you want to say for this episode?
Not terribly, just that I'm really excited to get to the next 10 episodes. I can't wait to see what waits for us. Hopefully
There's
Pisces
some good ones
in the next 10, but I don't know. It might still be too soon.
I think Pisces is in like the 30s range.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I've still got more. Okay. I'll be patient.
It's kind of dumb, and I knew that they were going to do this when it was airing, is that we have 4 of them that have awakened out of the 12. Find me my last 8. I'm like, they're probably going to get the last 6 within the last 10, 15 episodes, and they literally cram them all in right there. And I'm like, okay, cool. That works, I guess.
Well, okay. I just hope that we see more, I don't know, everyone. I want to see more of everyone.
I want to see everyone more.
Yeah, and I know you keep saying that Shun?
Yes.
Okay. I have my own names. Like we talked about in the last one, I have my own names for all of them because I'm not scared to call them by the wrong names in front of Squall. So
I don't make fun of you. The internet's gonna make fun of you.
Yeah, and that's why I'm scared.
If you don't preface it.
I don't want.
That's literally my entire time spent at the Tokusatsu Network. Is you didn't say this name right. It's like.
So
You know what I'm talking about.
I'm not scared. In the comfort of our own apartment to mispronounce names. I give them my own names and everything, and he might snicker, but he doesn't correct me. And so then we get on the podcast and I'm like, oh wait, I can't call JK Ryuchaki. You know,
I mean, you can, but you have to preface it. You have to let everybody else know about that, so they're not just like, oh, this
right,
she can't even get frickin' Ichigo.
Shut up. Oh my god, none of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Done.
So yeah, that's all I guess I have to say about that.
Okay, cool. Well, guys, I hope you had fun listening to this. We will be back as soon as possible because obviously she's loving the show.
I love it. I love it so much. This is I have a hard time thinking that there'll be another Kamen Rider or Sentai or anything that I'll like more than this. I know you keep saying, oh, there's some that you think, but this is really, this is doing it for me.
We're actually going to talk about that in the after show coming up next.
Yeah, I'm so excited. The questions are so good. So I really hope that you guys will listen to that too, because I'm really excited for this too.
What I'm really excited about is we are currently in the process of kind of getting a new place and moving and setting everything up. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I would love to do a video of this. And have that be a YouTube. And so you guys could get the podcast like you're listening to right now. The one that went up on YouTube, episode 1, was just the waveform with the graphic and everything. But I would love to do a video of us talking just so everybody at home could see some of the excitement that you showcase when you talk about some of these things.
I'm very expressive.
It's my own personal little show and I love it. But that's all I have to say for this week. Like I said, we'll be back very soon because we're going to get through those next 10 like this. And please let me know if we should stop at 30 or if we should do a couple more, just because I feel like that would be a really good cap for it to come back. I feel like that would be a good little block, but
I'm scared now. I'm nervous.
It's good. You'll love it.
Okay.
Anyway, guys, thanks for listening to Tokusatsu Girlfriend, episode 2. I'm Squall Charlson, and
I'm Laur, your Tokusatsu girlfriend.
Hey, I like that.
I've been thinking about it.
Awesome. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.